Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn, and as always, I'm so grateful you are here, grateful that you are bringing me into your present moment, so thank you so much. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. You already know all the goodness we're going to be getting into, and if you are new here, welcome. I'm so grateful again that you are here, that you press play on one of my videos. If you enjoy lifestyle, spirituality, self-development, journaling, then make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my weekly videos and you join in on this growing community. In this video, we're going to be getting into 8 journaling prompts for this upcoming full moon in Aries that we have taking place on October 20th, 2021. And may I add the fact that we also have approached the end of our very last Mercury retrograde of the year. So we can definitely expect that to have some influence on the week ahead as well under this full moon. So I'm really excited to share these prompts with you as they are directly influenced by this Aries full moon. And if you are new here, the flow of this video is that I'm going to be sharing each journaling prompt, and with each prompt, I'm going to give you some extra guidance, some extra clarity, and really just get into the intention of the prompt. So you'll definitely have all the guidance that you need for your full moon ritual, your full moon journaling, your full moon reflections. So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this, because this full moon is really calling us to prioritize ourselves, our needs, our desires, and making sure that we're fulfilling ourselves before we are fulfilling others. So let's get into it. How would I currently define what peace looks and feels like? This is very much so a peaceful full moon that really wants us to confront ourselves and making sure that we are fulfilling our own needs and our own desires. Because when we do so, then we can really be at ease. Then we can really feel peace in our lives. And one of the only ways that we can really call in our desires, that we can really welcome what it is that we want, is by defining it, is by getting clear on what it is that we feel it looks like and that we feel it feels like and how we envision it. So my intention with this prompt is for us to get clear on how we define peace, because I know we all want it. So under this full moon that is already trying to grant us peace, and given that we are at the end of Mercury retrograde, the last Mercury retrograde of the year, that naturally is going to be bringing more ease and flow into our lives, let's define peace at this time, because it is the perfect time to do so. So in this season, how would you define peace? And get as specific as possible, involve all the senses so that you can get descriptive with it. And be aware that as you evolve, your definition of peace is also going to evolve. So in this very moment, in this season of your life, as this version of yourself, and with awareness of the version of yourself that you are becoming, how would you define peace? And know that this peace, this definition of peace, is the peace that you are calling in. What do I know is good for the well-being of my spirit? Again, y'all, with all of these prompts, my intention is for us to really get clear on what it is that we're calling in, on what it is that benefits us and our ascension and our alignment with our highest potential and our most authentic selves, really gaining this awareness. So let's gain awareness on what we know. Let's acknowledge the awareness we already have on what we know benefits our well-being, specifically the well-being of our spirit. What do you know is good for you? Because this full moon is, again, really calling us to turn inward, to fulfill ourselves and our needs and our desires before we are going out and fulfilling the needs and desires of others. This is a full moon that is calling us to turn inward, to really confront ourselves and see where we haven't been pouring into ourselves in ways that we know we need to maintain the well-being of our spirit. So with this prompt, acknowledge your awareness of what it is that you know is good for you and good to you. And whenever it is that you feel like you need a reminder, refer back to this prompt and what it is that you wrote down. What containers am I no longer forcing myself into? And by containers, I mean like putting yourself in a box, upholding yourself to certain identities. And these containers, these boxes, these identities, you are becoming aware of the fact that they are holding you back. They are no longer in resonance with who it is that you're becoming. You are healing and changing and evolving and transforming in ways where you are awakening to your true authentic self, and you're realizing that what you have contained yourself into, the boxes you've put yourself into, the identities that you've identified with, don't reflect your most authentic self. They don't allow you to fully express your soul's purpose, what it is that you feel called to do in this life. And so with that growing conscious awareness of these containers, these identities, these boxes that hold us back, let's use this prompt, and really this is the intention of this prompt, to lean into that calling of reinventing ourselves, of liberating ourselves from these containers, from these boxes, from these identities, from these restrictions, and claim that we're no longer forcing ourselves into those. So this prompt is very much so a self-liberating prompt, a prompt that is holding space for you to lean into that awareness that you've been gaining. And let's also bring to light the fact that a lot of these identities and containers that we've been putting ourselves in are rooted in us pleasing others, us worrying about others, what others think of us seeking external validation, us being programmed societally, and realizing that we're being performative. And we no longer want to be performative. We want to be our most authentic selves. And the way that we're going to do that is by dismantling these programmings, dismantling these systems, dismantling these identities, these containers, these boxes that we've been finding ourselves in for way too long. And it is time now to step out of them. So, my friends, let's claim that we're no longer restricting ourselves. Let's claim that we are intending to fully express our most authentic selves, our deepest desires, our soul's purpose, and utilize this prompt to our advantage in taking that step forward. In what ways am I actively choosing to honor myself? I believe I already mentioned this earlier in the video, but this Aries full moon is really calling us to turn inward, to confront ourselves and ask ourselves how we have not been prioritizing ourselves and have been prioritizing others before prioritizing ourselves, our needs, our desires. And so this prompt is aligning us to this full moon energy, really soaking this full moon energy up and its intention to call us to turn inward and honor ourselves, honor our needs, honor our desires. So this prompt is saying, okay, full moon, I see that you really want me to ultimately honor myself. And I'm going to honor you by holding space for myself to reflect on the ways in which I'm going to, or already have been actively choosing to honor myself. So this is very much so a self-love, self-care prompt that is directly in alignment with this full moon energy. How has my transformation affected my relationships with others? I know that we have all been experiencing some immense self transformations and evolution. And I know that we have been taking note of how us prioritizing ourselves in this way of allowing ourselves to change, allowing ourselves to reinvent ourselves, to really embody our most authentic selves and what it is that we feel called to do in this season of our lives. We've been taking note of how that has been affecting the relationships around us. And we've been learning a lot about relationships this year throughout all of these lunations, throughout all of these astrological transits and societal occurrences and all of that. Relationships have been really coming up. And because this full moon is calling us again to prioritize ourselves, our desires, our needs, our continued healing and transformations, this theme of relationships is going to continue to come up. It's going to come up in this full moon as well. And so I wanted to incorporate at least one prompt to where we're going to be allowing ourselves to lean into the reflection of the relationships in our lives. And if you haven't done so already, reflecting on how you allowing yourself to change, you allowing yourself to finally prioritize yourself and your well-being in this way has been affecting the relationships around you. So, how has your transformation affected the relationships around you? And if you want to take it a step further, include and add on what it is that you've learned about relationships. What have you learned about relationships in allowing yourself to transform, in allowing yourself to prioritize yourself and your needs and your desires? What areas of my life are grounding and what areas of my life are ascending? So, because this full moon is all about getting us to reflect and focus on turning inwards and really confronting ourselves and making sure that we are fulfilling our own needs and desires, ultimately what that is all about is us gaining the conscious awareness and mindfulness of how we are investing our energy. And is our energetic investments ultimately benefiting us first and foremost, benefiting our well-being, benefiting our alignment to our highest potential, benefiting our soul's purpose, what it is that we are feeling called to do, benefiting our authenticity, benefiting our well-being. And some of us may find that we are imbalanced in our energetic investments in different aspects of our lives. So for example, some of us may find ourselves too fixated on healing. Some of us may find ourselves too fixated on manifesting. And this full moon is really wanting us to find this inner balance, this inner equilibrium, to where we have this equal investment, mindfulness with grounding ourselves and allowing ourselves to ascend, right? Not being in the extreme of ascension and not being in the extreme of being grounded. And this prompt is also very much so inspired by my energy reading, because when I asked what it is that we should focus on healing, the two cards that came up was grounding and ascension. So this prompt is very much so focused on the energy of rebalancing ourselves. And so I thought, well, let's begin by gaining awareness of the aspects of our lives where we feel we are grounding and the aspects of our lives where we feel we are ascending. So my friends, This is also a prompt that's getting you to align with this full moon energy and getting you to think about these different aspects of your lives, where you are really feeling grounded in yourself, really feeling grounded in the present moment, really feeling grounded in your authenticity, in your self-care, in your needs, your desires, in your clarity, and all of that. And what aspects, what areas of your life do you feel like you are ascending? Do you feel like you are transforming, changing, experiencing forward motion? So let's get into all of that and really hold space for ourselves in gaining the conscious awareness of these dualities taking place in our lives, and with the intention of bringing us back into inner balance and inner equilibrium. What do I currently feel called to begin? You may find yourself under this full moon and throughout this week and the following days after the full moon feeling very energized and feeling motivated, inspired, suddenly feeling like this uptick of energy to start something, to bring some forward motion to an idea, to a desire, to something that you may have started in the past and kind of left alone because it didn't feel quite right, to continue doing it, to continue working on it and revisiting that thing and picking it back up again. This is partly due to the fact that the full moon has reached its fullness and it is completely energized within itself, but also due to the fact that we have come to the end of Mercury retrograde. And retrograde's naturally bringing this stagnancy, this blockage to the flow of certain aspects of our lives. And with the end of it, we're going to start feeling that flow coming back into those aspects of our lives that may have felt blocked in some way, shape, or form. So if you have been feeling called, or if you start to feel called to start something, to begin something, to finally put your energy towards something, feeling inspired and motivated to do that thing that you've been wanting to do, or a new thing that you suddenly feel the desire to do, it is because of these two things: the fullness of the full moon having the energy and also the end of Mercury retrograde. So I definitely wanted to hold space for that, for the fact that many of us are going to feel this uptick of energy and this sudden desire to get this thing started, to do this thing, to begin this thing. And so what is that thing for you? What is the calling for you at this time, under this full moon and at the end of this Mercury retrograde? What do you feel called to begin? What do you feel called to start and to do? And get detailed, get into it. Let this prompt be the beginning of the manifestation of this seed that you are about to plant. Why is it easier for me to fulfill the needs and desires of others before fulfilling the needs and desires of my own? This is a shadow work prompt that may not resonate with all of you. So if it doesn't, don't feel forced to do it. In fact, don't feel forced to do all of these prompts. Only do the ones that genuinely resonate with you and call to you. But I really wanted to include this shadow work prompt because it is so timely under this full moon that is encouraging us to turn inward, that is encouraging us to become aware of the ways in which we haven't been prioritizing ourselves. It is directing us to be mindful of our energy and to really make sure that we are fulfilling our needs and our desires. So naturally, there's going to be some of you who are going to start to realize that you haven't been putting yourself first. So I wanted to hold space for those of you who are going to be coming to those realizations and provide you with a prompt that is guiding you towards reflecting deeper on that and reflecting on the root of why that is. Why is it easier for you to prioritize others, to prioritize someone else's needs and desires and fulfill them before fulfilling your own needs and desires? Why is that? And if you do end up doing this prompt, please be compassionate and graceful with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. and simply walk into this prompt with the intention to just gain more awareness. Okay? And that, my friends, are the 8 journaling prompts for this upcoming full moon in Aries that we have taking place on October 20th, 2021. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that at least one of the prompts have really resonated with you. And if it has, please let me know in the comments. I love engaging and connecting with y'all and cultivating community in the comments and learning which journaling prompts you end up doing. As always, I'm so honored to be just a sliver aspect of your journaling experience under this moon, and for you allowing me to guide you in your reflections. I'm truly so honored, so honored. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for pressing play. And again, connect with me in the comments. And y'all, really allow this full moon to bring you clarity, okay? Really allow yourself to confront yourselves in ways that really benefit you in gaining clarity and conscious awareness of how you can really pour into yourself more, because it's really important at this time. This full moon in Aries is really wanting us to make sure that we're being mindful of our energy and making sure that we're investing more energy into ourselves, more energy into making sure that we're taking care of our needs, that we are fulfilling our desires, because when each of us does that, we are uplifting the collective frequency and vibration of the world. We are making such a high vibrational difference when we are pouring into ourselves, and we are best able to show up as the best version of ourselves when we pour into ourselves, when we prioritize ourselves. So don't think of it as selfish, especially if you are someone who has the tendency to prioritize others before yourself. Okay? You are worthy of your own commitment. You are worthy of your own investments, your own energy. It is your birthright to invest in yourself, to put yourself first, to love yourself, to take care of yourself. So I hope that this full moon really is good to you in all the best ways, and that this video sincerely helped you. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, y'all. Don't forget to check out the energy reading, okay? All right.